Blue 32! Blue 32! Set! Ha!
All right, everybody, welcome to the Gray Matters Weekly Football Wrap-Up and Preview Show. We will take a look back at week number 3 and what was the NFL and talk a little bit of college. We'll also catch you up and get you ready for Thursday night, getting ready for week 4. And so we're going to get all of our discussion to catch you up on that, talk about each matchup, what we're looking for, forecast some things, even give you some bets. But as I always say when I start the show, please understand that none of us, our comments should be taken seriously because we losing out here, okay? So if you're going out here, you got a problem with gambling, please understand that we're having fun with this. Please do not take our advice and follow it. If you have a gambling problem, go seek some help. Talk to professionals. There are 800 numbers. There are anonymous places where you can go to get gambling help. If you have a problem, we are just not the place for you to get it. All right. With that, let's get it, boys. Andre, go ahead and get us started. Give us a rundown.
Oh, absolutely. So week 3 was messy, to say the least.
Very.
It was sloppy track.
There was some upsets. There was some pretenders. There was a lot going on. So there's topics that we won't be able to avoid. So sorry, y'all about to hear some of this for the umpteenth time, but it deserves to be discussed, and we're gonna discuss it the only way the Gray Matters can. So, but let's go ahead and start off, Paul. What kind of what's your biggest storyline from this past week?
Outside of Shiloh bouncing checks out in Eugene, Oregon, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and go with the elephant in the room. Denver, that defense, like everything that's going on with Denver. They look like a team that's completely quit
In week 3.
Week 3. That's wild, isn't it?
And
yes.
And until further notice, they Denver A&M because they treated that was Miami's homecoming game. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, and it was just
really a second.
It wasn't even
Really
schemed.
did. I had to catch up.
It wasn't even schemed.
No. It actually looked like walkthroughs.
Yeah.
It looked like a walkthrough.
It wasn't. You can't blame Russ.
No, not for this one. No,
and you look at all the talking heads, and they're talking about how disrespectful it was for them to leave Russ in the game.
No.
And I thought about it for a second. I was on board for a second because I remember I've been in a blowout or two in my life, and I've been on that end of it. But
Russ wanted to be out. He wanted to stay out there.
Well, that's where I'm going.
Russ
and I've also been like, what? I'm done with this. You put the freshman in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. My pads are popped. I'm cool for the day. It's 40-4.
We
it's
got
a wrap.
2 safeties.
It's a wrap. So,
oh, man.
But then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, Russ has this Nickelodeon thing going on where he was mic'd up, and he was the ambassador, so he can't tap out. He's trying to grow the game because numbers are down on the youth level, big time.
Right.
So he's an ambassador for that. And then you got the fact that Russ knows that he's not going to be there.
No.
He's going to have to go back to the negotiating table about his deal.
Yeah.
Because whoever takes on him is going to rework his deal.
Yeah.
And I want to pick up on that later, but the whole shot that's been a moving that story's been a moving target for a while.
Right.
We've been talking about the Sean Payton Russ thing, the sabotage, dude.
Well, exactly. So where I'm going with that is he's going to go back to the negotiating table. And what do you negotiate with? You negotiate with numbers.
Yeah.
So Russ is padding his stats. I'll stay in here. I'm trying to get to 350, 320, whatever.
He had, and I think that's about what he had too, about 320, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
His numbers haven't looked bad this year.
Right.
He's basically saying, if this is how you're going to do me, Sean Payton, fine.
I'm going to play the game too. So that is what stood out to me.
Yeah. So Denver A&M getting blown out by 50. Vance Joseph, bruh. I got questions on that side because 70 is a bit extreme. Okay, we get it. But the defense ain't been playing well. Like, they didn't play well last week either. I mean, this was just playing bad to a next level.
Right.
Like it was completely just trash. Just the fact
that it was historically tragic.
The fact that it looked like how you draw it up on the paper is probably the worst. The worst indictment, because it ain't supposed. I promise y'all. Like, I've been on that side. I've been in the rooms where they draw stuff up. It don't never work exactly
right. Like, somebody missed a block. They didn't chip enough. Something.
It ain't supposed to be 100%. Like, this, just every person that was supposed to be sealed got sealed. Every person that was supposed to got kicked out of bounds. Like, they went all the way.
Me and my homeboy Ali. Shout out to Ali. We were talking about that. And he said, it looked like when you're playing Madden on the beginner's level and you're actually mad that you let him get 20 points because you just, I don't know, you was too geeked over the fact that this play, it looked like them it was 1966. I think they said it was the last time a team scored. What was it? 72 was the record.
Yeah.
1966. They weren't even throwing the ball. Joe Namath wasn't even Joe Namath yet at that point.
It was the Bears in the championship.
Yeah, they lit 73 somebody on fire.
Yeah,
73-0. Yeah,
and that was.
We talking leather helmets, and if you had one fast person, you
face mask. Definitely wasn't a face mask involved.
You could dominate the entire sport. Like, this was like
you say. Jim Brown would never. Paul Hornung would never.
No.
So shout out to Denver A&M, man. Hopefully,
jerseys.
At least you won the battle of the bands. I guess is all I got.
We're the majorettes.
So, what's your story that stuck out, Billy?
I tell you what, because I already know we going. I don't know which one to pick because I know one of them. So I'm gonna be petty because this is probably my last opportunity on this episode to be petty. I'll tell you what sticks out to me because this was actually, since the Bengals weren't on Sunday. This was the game I followed the most closely, even though I had multiple screens going on. Man, you can't drop that to the Colts. At home.
Yeah.
And even though I said I'm being petty, I'm really not actually. You can't drop that to the Colts.
That's not the same Colts though with Minshew.
Well, here's my point.
That was the curveball. I feel what you're saying. That was the curveball, though.
And here's the same Colts, man. Here's what I'm saying. If he's on the roster, you have to factor him in.
Yeah.
And my point is he's a dude. But I'm even coming from a different perspective because I'm one of those people that always felt like the Colts. It wasn't that they weren't going to fight or they were going to let down. I just don't think they have the roster talent to make any real moves this year. But here's my thing.
2 years ago, they had the best line in football.
Yeah. But here's where I'm going with that. If you're the Ravens, and I heard somebody say this perfectly, they were like, at this point, we're in week 3 of a new system. Granted, this new system is not going to be mastered by the offensive unit. Yeah, you got a few injuries here or there. They were like, and it was almost like, you know how you were looking for something, you couldn't quite get it, but it was on the tip of your tongue. But I heard somebody say this on ESPN, and they were like, Monkins come in, and I mean, Lamar Jackson looks just like the Lamar Jackson we've grown accustomed to. There's nothing about the offense Now, granted, there's a few wrinkles and some different things like that, but basically, like, what did you bring him in here to do? If you're still only going to score 19 points against the Colts, like, what is Greg Roman can get me 19 points with this roster is currently constituted. And it's not just the points, but Lamar, like, he's running about the same amount as he has in the past. Design runs pocket, everything. There's nothing that looks like, man, almost like when you see a new offense being installed, you're like, yeah, they ain't quite got it yet. They're not clicking on all cylinders.
Right.
But I see where they're going. I don't even see where Todd Monken's going. This looks like pretty much everything I've ever seen with Lamar Jackson. And so with that, it's one of those, I understand you got to be patient, but that's the thing that's jumped out to me, because after the way that the Ravens looked in the first 2 weeks, I was starting to get a little bit nervous. And I'm still nervous, but I'm thinking to myself, like, Ravens ain't gonna run away with this thing because they still got some stuff to fix.
Well, and 100% agree. You're not supposed to lose to the Colts. I'm gonna call this a mulligan game. Not because of it, like, because it's the Colts or anything like that, because the Colts are going to play hard. I told you in our pre-season stuff that Shane Steichen was a good coach. But Gardner Minshew is he's a tough out. But yeah, they turned the ball over, the Ravens, that is, turned the ball over more than they should have. Just fumbles. Weather was goofy. Bateman got hurt during the game, so they started chipping away at the pieces that they needed to be successful in order for it just not to be the Lamar show again. Because it turned into the Lamar and Mark Andrews thing, which is what you're saying as far as it looks just like it did last year.
Yeah.
Because you can, once people started going down, you can double Flowers, and then you just got to worry about Andrews, and it literally is verbatim last year's offense. Yeah. And then Gus Edwards went down with a concussion, and now it really is just Lamar back here.
And this goes back to what I was saying in the preseason about both Miami and with Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, on paper, and if I look at the roster, it should be an AFC championship with the Ravens either going to Miami or probably, something like that, or Miami going to Baltimore. But the problem is health. The Ravens, for the past 3 years, that's how the season has fallen apart. It's OBJ is hurt. Gus hurt now, right? We got little chinks here and there, and that's the thing. It's going to happen on any roster. But,
Tucker missing the field goal too. Like, there was a lot. It was the perfect storm for them to lose. Like, they kept playing with their food, and you met. And shout out to the Colts kicker, though. My man.
Oh, yeah. Dude kicked four
over 50-yard field, 50-yard plus. Come on, no, you was money on that one. I like that. Yeah. I like that. So for me, since you boarded on Petty, I'm gonna go ahead and see your Petty and raise you one.
Okay. All right.
How about them Cowboys?
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's I knew. I said, let me just go and do that because that was going to be my other one.
One more note on the Ravens before we go to the Cowboys.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
They've regressed each week offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Each week, the defense has kind of leveled off, but offensively, especially the pass blocking, it was horrible this week. Which automatically means the passing was horrible.
Yeah. They got some line problems.
And the receiving was awful.
With the center and Staley being out, or Stanley, those are the two that definitely affect the passing portion. I feel like these.
I'll take real quick though. I'll take it even a step further, even beyond the Colts. Mm-hmm. They barely got out of Cincinnati with that win, and they really it shouldn't have been a 3-point game. And I understand time, they ran the clock out, whatever, that kind of thing. But my point is, they should have double-digit beat Cincinnati in week 2 because Cincinnati has not been right. they don't look right, and we know why, all the reasons why. So to Paul's point, that offense, again, y'all got rid of Greg Roman, and it was supposed to be like, yeah, man, we ain't gonna have these problems, playing with our food and not being able to convert and having fun. Like it,
But for me though, I think like I'm at this point, I think I'm waiting till week 6 or 7 before I figure out who's what.
That's fair,
because this entire season so far has been like
everybody, it's Bizarro World.
Weird. So back to Bizarro World, the Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Speaking of Bizarro World,
so we offline had a conversation about what it means to lose Stefon Diggs, or not Stefon, Trayvon Diggs. My bad.
Trayvon.
Yeah, and how it became it creates potential.
Bill's trying to lose Stefon Diggs.
They trying to, but how it becomes a domino effect,
right?
But the one thing that showed up that was kind of unexpected was that the Cowboys ain't physical, or at least they wasn't last week. The Cardinals took it directly to them.
I think they're looking ahead to San Francisco.
Well, they need to stop because
they got Hoodie next week.
Yeah, they need to stop.
Hoodie is not gonna cut you no breaks.
Because you're not getting past the physicality for the next few weeks.
Because they got a quarterback that went to the Chris Paul school of quarterbacking.
Yeah, he's a dirty, rotten scoundrel.
In the ding ding. Yes. He is out there kicking him in the ding ding. So
nobody gonna say that what's his name, MacArthur don't want it. Ain't nobody saying that. At all costs, by any means necessary.
Man. So, but the fact that they got it taken to and was just embarrassing, really. I mean, like the Cardinals were literally the more physical football team. And they played harder. And so, but you knew they were going to play hard. But the Cowboys never woke up from I get it. You got a half and you're like, okay, all right, we in a dogfight. They never came out of that mentality. They got punched in the face and they kept going. For the Cardinals to score 28 points, again, for the record, the Cardinals are not trying to win football games. But Dobbs is out here running 45-yard runs, and James Conner, bless his heart, he's not fast, but he out here breaking long runs, and Wandale Moore is 5'3", lightning quick, but he had every play you saw from that game, somebody was running, running. And that's a lack of just pure heart within the defense. And then the offense, I think McCarthy is out of plays. It is what it looked like, because when they get to the goal line, or red zone, it looks bad, man. And I've never seen it where they showed it, the 22 version, and there literally weren't people open. I mean, I know we blaming Dak for throwing interceptions and stuff like that, but he didn't have anybody to throw to. Now, eventually, he's going to have to use his legs. That's the only solution. Is that I know that's putting his whole, contract and future and everything else in harm's way.
They pay him handsomely.
I was going to say they pay him to move.
Well, no, I mean, but he on the last year. I'm just saying in his mind. I don't know if it's because he on the last year of his deal and he has not run the football. And he needs to,
but this is kind of
when everybody's covered.
This has kind of been that week where we have to hold coaches accountable.
Oh, absolutely.
Last night, Sean McVay had an awful night. McCarthy,
I think they were playing with the hand behind their back. They were playing one-handed and left-handed.
I just think
they just traded the running back, and then you had one receiver that everybody knows about.
Them all sound like. That didn't have nothing to do with the play calling in the game. There was some awful play call. And my point is with McCarthy, it looked vanilla.
It was very vanilla.
It was extreme. It was it looked like it's almost like, how they say, well, now that they don't want to let anybody play, they're still doing preseason stuff. It looked like they were trying to see what worked.
On top of that,
no, you scored 70 points in the first 2 games of the season. Nah, man, you look.
They're shortening the game on purpose. They don't believe in Dak. They don't want him. They're They're coaching Dak the way they should be coaching Zach Wilson.
Yes, that is a great way of putting it.
But the thing is, when you like, I get trying to shorten the game until you don't need to shorten the game. Like there's when you down 28 to 12 or something like that, like it never picked, like the pace never picked up, and like the sense of urgency never came out. CeeDee Lamb, Dan Orlovsky pointed out CeeDee Lamb and him looking for calls instead of looking for the ball. And I didn't pay attention to it, but man, when you run it back on tape, you like you wasn't even going to try for the ball. You really just hoping for a flag, like.
But this is why I say coaches' accountability. To your point, because this is what Mike McCarthy did in Green Bay, where it's like, and you saw this last year, where it's like y'all need to be running to the line and hurry up and getting in the scoring position, and y'all just letting it clock go. Like you do realize you losing, right?
With what?
But back
to this is a less talented team.
Yeah, I get it, but Mike McCarthy,
he's
always been clowned for his clock management, and normally it's the last 2 minutes of a game. He mismanaged the entire second half. Like it was a slow stroke.
That's
on mismanagement.
And here's the thing. And hold on. And you scored what they put up. What did they put up on the Giants? What, 40 or something like that?
40-0.
They didn't score 40.
They didn't score. The defense.
That's not my point. What I'm saying is you're playing an inferior opponent. You have superior talent to the Cardinals. I don't mean you didn't play the Eagles.
They had an SEC September. Absolutely.
And you got tripped up by and I get it, and I no shade to the Cardinals. They really fall hard. Like you said, Dobbs is out there working. Like he don't know that it's time to tank. My point is
that whole roster, they know the organization is tanking. So what they're doing is they trying to get tape.
Yeah, they're trying to get
because they auditioning for the league.
And all
this is a 17-week job interview.
But for those teams, you should be able to beat that out of them.
Yeah, and by the third quarter, end of the third quarter, they should.
Somebody like, I got enough tape on. I put enough plays on tape. We good. I'm gonna go ahead and
I'll put it to you this way.
Right.
The 49ers, the Dolphins, the Eagles, they would have stomped it out of the Cardinals by 5 minutes left in the third quarter. They would be on the bench knowing that they ain't gonna come back.
They would have done it with their pads. Well, them dudes would have been like, these boys hitting today. I got to play the rest of the season.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Cowboys.
You're saying the Cowboys can't do it with their pads.
They don't want that smoke.
Well, we already know Micah is good till Thanksgiving. And then he gonna, it's gonna be a little limp here.
He's gonna be making business decisions.
I don't think Micah makes business decisions. I think that's why he's in the shape he's in every December.
Yeah, this is true.
He don't make enough business decisions.
Right.
He need to make more.
That tough
his agent is like, come on, bro.
That tough guy will shorten your career, bro.
You right? Yeah.
Oh man. So as a resident Eagles fan, I loved it. So I'm good with it. It was a great day. So in just actual game, like, hey, this game was just awesome, or wasn't? What game stood out to you, Billy?
I think both intrigue and a team that has gotten my attention. I'm going to go with the Saints playing in Green Bay.
Yeah.
That was probably, and I'm not saying it was a shocker to me, but it was one of those.
It became one.
Well, it did. Here's the thing.
When they
was down 17-0, it became.
I was getting ready to say, here's the deal.
The way they called that game when Jameis came in, you would have thought he was Nathan Peterman or Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Okay.
It was weird.
You said weird. I'm almost on the fringe of disrespectful because
Jameis has earned.
No. Jameis deserves better. Is all
fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. And you know where I am with Jameis.
And you know where I am.
He made some bonehead choices back in Tampa, but don't do this to a veteran who's led a team and like he can get Derek Carr. I'll say it like this: the drop off between Jameis Winston, like the drop off between Derek Carr and Jameis Winston, was not deep enough for them to be that inept.
You should be able to run the same play.
You should be able to run the exact same.
It ain't like you going to a running quarterback.
You might question a couple of play calls or decisions that he might make throwing it into a window. But as far as actual skill set and tools and what he can do,
and arm talent,
there's
he's actually more talented than the starter.
There's actually Derek Carr is starting over Jameis Winston because of decisions, not necessarily because of physical talent. And my point is,
up, not the neck
you
down.
you can run the rest of the play sheet. But more importantly, I want to actually give some love to Jordan Love.
Give it to him,
because earlier when we talked about in the preseason, I thought he might need to get a year of starting under his belt, but it almost looks like maybe not to the level of Aaron Rodgers from Brett Favre, but it might. I think Green Bay might have, they might be showing the actual system and how you do it.
Well,
Make these people sit 3 years, old school.
Yeah, they never
sit 3 years behind somebody.
They
Jordan Love looks like the deal. Like I'll put you this way. They don't have to move, and that's the beauty of the way that you build a team. They don't have to move off of him for at least 3-4 more years before they got to give him some real money.
No, they got to pay him now.
No.
They paid him already?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Well, they picked up his 5th-year option.
That's what I'm saying. He got a check coming.
But my point is, it's not. He hasn't even started enough to get a real team. He ain't gonna get like Lamar Jackson or Russell Wilson or Joe Burrow or like he hasn't. He don't even have enough on his resume.
He's gonna get more money than Daniel Jones.
But my point, maybe. But my point is, Daniel Jones' money is actually manageable. They don't have to pay him like they was paying Aaron Rodgers. They was paying Aaron Rodgers like $56 million.
Okay,
but what they don't have to pay that. They're gonna get half.
I think what they're gonna end up doing, and it's not. I mean, it's gonna work out well for him. I think they're gonna franchise him twice after his 5th-year option's up,
and they should.
So they franchise him twice, and then you'll have a full, 3 seasons with him as a starter to be able to make a financial.
But my point about
he looks good.
If he can win 11 games and close on the division, he might get 150 guaranteed.
I actually thought that the fight was going to be Minnesota versus Detroit. It's week 4 coming up. I'm already willing to admit the fight is Green Bay and Detroit. Absolutely. It's not going to be Minnesota. I got that all the way wrong.
I don't think Minnesota's done, bro.
I don't mean they're done.
Minnesota's done.
But they're 0-3.
Minnesota's done.
That division is the water's so muddy in that division. It might only take 9 games to win it.
No,
I think by trade deadline, I think they're gonna start making.
It's gonna come out in the water. And so what I'm saying is,
they liquidate.
I still think that going back to the NFC South, I still believe wholeheartedly because we saw the Bucks. I still believe that my pick earlier saying that New Orleans was going to win that division. I still believe we were right about that.
Yeah.
But Green Bay, I ain't gonna lie. Green Bay, I don't know how much noise they would make in the NFC because they don't have nothing for the Eagles or the 49ers or even the Cowboys for that matter. But they got a future. So I saw
absolutely. That. Yeah.
That was my game. That actually, I was like, okay, let me keep an eye on them.
No, they got to do. And I'm happy for him because he was.
Aaron was making it hard. He learned from Brett Favre. And he was doing the most, so it was good they moved off him.
Yeah. What about you, Paul? What was your 60 minutes of that stood out to you?
I'm gonna go with the boys, the hometown boys. I saw a lot that even though they won last night, I'm concerned. To be honest with you, if I'm not mistaken, Joe still hasn't thrown a touchdown pass.
No, he's thrown like 2 or 3 of them. Like he's thrown touchdowns. He got 2 of them against Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah.
The good thing is that they're finding other ways to make plays in defense and special teams. But But when I'm looking at their grades, bro, I'm seeing a lot of yellow, I'm seeing a lot of red, I'm seeing a lot of orange. It's just not real good in a bunch of different areas, man.
Yeah.
Pass blocking is atrocious. It's atrocious. You know, I was happy to see Chase get on track. I'd like to see him run more than one route. I don't understand what the heck is going on with that. That puzzled me.
Yeah.
Their offense seems to not have grown. I think they need a new coordinator, to be honest with you. I think Burrow is going to regress if they don't get a new coordinator in there.
Let me say this real quick, because I agree with you about all of that, except the one little caveat. Now I'm putting on my Andre Collins face, because I'm going to talk to you like you just said something about Lamar.
That's how you feel, though.
I know, right? Well, here's what I will say. What I saw, because I saw the exact same thing that you're describing, Paul, but what I saw was a quarterback who can hit every throw on the field. Suddenly they know internally he can't hit every throw. And so I think the game plan was like, certain routes, we just not gonna, like, they literally, I don't want to say limited the playbook, but they shortened the playbook some, because they know, even though Joe doesn't, basically it wasn't just we're not going to let him run or move around, get it out quick. It was he can't step off of that leg and make every throw. That's what I saw in how they were choosing the play selection. Like, I think he went deep, maybe 4 times. He threw the ball. He dropped back 53 times. He technically had 49 attempts. I think he went deep maybe 4 or 5 times total.
Yeah, I think in the first half they said something like he didn't have a pass go over 10 air yards.
There you go. And that is he's that much better than the backup, but he can't make all the throws. That's what the offense. And so for that, in other words, I'm giving Brian Callahan.
I'm not going to buy that.
Even though, no, I don't buy it. I'm just telling you that's what Zach Taylor's going to tell you in the press conference. If he's being honest.
Well, no, if he lying to us, because if he going to tell the truth, the truth is they don't have any creativity, like on how to use the player.
I agree.
I'm not even. Outside of the throws, like I'm not even worried about whether he can make this throw or that throw far right. Like, move.
I think they scared is the point.
Okay,
they scared,
but like move.
They got the plays in there. They just scared to run them.
Like
use motion
around. You think like motion.
Somebody other than Jamar.
Like create matchups. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like that's your daggone job is to get him on a linebacker or a safety.
They are shook in Cincinnati.
Okay.
The good news is though,
that's an excuse. Are you riding with
that?
I'm
not. No, I'm not saying. I agree with you. Is what I'm saying. I'm just telling you right now that the good news is, even though everybody's going on about this whole calf, and I got to work out for Joe Burrow. I'm actually going to post this on our Facebook page, a calf workout, because that dude got some of the skinniest calves I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, we just got to call it what it is, Joe. I love you, but your calves, I see why your stuff ain't working. But the good news is that if he can go without messing it up or popping it or whatever, it apparently is such that it will progressively get better. Like, it will be sore, but it's not like this isn't the how they put it, like it, because again, it matters where on his calf it is. Basically, if it were higher up, they probably wouldn't even put him out there because of the risk it could be on his actual Achilles. So anyway, the point is he got through the night. So, he'll live to see another day.
I'm with Paul though. They gotta find a way to
something.
Now Chase is running 3 routes. He only got 3, and he's
the only ones he can hit.
But move him close, like crossing routes. Get him on the move where he's just doing a catch and run. Like, my man is super fast.
Yeah, it's super strong.
Dude, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah,
they are actually getting their arms around him, and he's just like, no.
Like T. Higgins, it's almost like they've defined roles. Like, okay, T. Higgins is our cross man, and Chase has to do everything on the outside, as opposed to just being like, yo, y'all run whatever routes we got. And sometimes you're gonna hit the slant. We're gonna put you on the same side of the field. We're gonna run double ends. We're gonna run post. Like, I'm not saying that they got to throw it 70 yards down the field, but they can figure out a way to make a 10-yard completion and let them dudes do the rest. Is all.
Did we spend this much time on Eagles?
I would use him the way they use Boyd. Honestly, I would have him play the spot, the position they have Boyd in. To be honest, like Boyd has more of a package than Chase. Like, what kind of, actually what's going on, bro?
Now I'll say this: T. Higgins dropped like 3 passes,
and they were wide because he's trying to get paid, man.
Yep.
That's all that is. Mike Williams did the same thing.
Yep. The Bucks.
With the Bucks. Yep. And I'm sitting there.
He got some money, and all of a sudden he was Mike Williams.
In the first half, he dropped a 3rd down that was almost picked off, right? And then later in that half, he dropped a touchdown, and they fell apart after that. The game was over after that, and you know, football. It could be a 3rd down
momentum, but it's up here
in the first quarter that you just don't convert, and it just snowballs.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The point
especially when you're playing a team that's just supposed to beat you, that's better than you.
The point is, Paul, we were watching the exact same thing. What you're saying is that my only thing is, as a fan, this is my fan cap now. As a fan of the Bengals, I hope that they just don't believe that Burrow can make every throw in the route tree, and it's not the Brian, because if Brian Callahan really truly is that stale, man, they in trouble. Bad.
Right.
It's bad too. They got too much talent to be that stale.
So for my game, need y'all to buckle up.
Hold on.
Because we've been talking about him.
We've been dancing around it.
Well, we hadn't danced around it on this subject. Okay. But he showed back up again. Brandon Staley. Jesus Christ.
Paul. Yeah.
Jesus. Like,
I'm here for
what are we doing, my God?
Bring
like
the smoke.
His explanation didn't make any sense. Like, for those who didn't watch it, because it was the Chargers versus Minnesota. Like,
it was so bad.
My man was up 28-24. Mm-hmm. It was 4th and 1 from his own 25-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
Game on the line. He goes for it instead of making them punt the ball. Or instead of punting the ball and making them drop 80 yards.
How much time wasn't it only like 4 minutes on the clock?
Yeah.
Or 5 minutes on the clock, something like that?
Yeah.
Like, it was enough time where they could have basically locked it up.
Mm-hmm. So instead of punting the ball and making them go 80 yards, he goes for it on 4th and 1 where they only got to go 25 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And his explanation was, well, if we got the first down, we could have ended the game. That's what every coach says. So we'll start there. But then also he said that I did it because we were up 4 and we knew they was going to have to score a touchdown in order to beat us. And that was literally his explanation. And it never made sense. Like, isn't it hard? I played a little football back in my day. I think y'all did too. Now, just humor me on this. Now, which is it harder to score 80 yards for a touchdown, or is it harder to go 25 for a touchdown?
Boy,
that sounds like math. Like, you ain't even got to put on no pass for that one.
Like, I need him to put the spreadsheet down, like, and just listen. Like, I know you want to be and be inventive and
that's
just
the problem with football coaches. They think they smarter than the game and everybody else.
They're smarter than everybody.
And somebody brought it up. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, well, analytics says this, but analytics just numbers. Like, that's all it is. It isn't emotions. It isn't shifting in defense. It isn't blitzes. It isn't, oh, my left tackle's going to miss this block assignment. Like, it's none of that. All it is just numbers. Like, it doesn't have a human element to say, okay, if I go for it and we miss one assignment, on this play, I'm giving up a touchdown. Now, the only thing that saves him and he gets to live and smile and stuff like that is that Minnesota tricked it off too.
Well, the tight end dropped the ball.
He didn't fight for
and Cousins is taking heat for that.
No,
Cousins put it on you, bro. Catch the daggone ball.
Actually, in these 3 losses, Kirk Cousins has actually looked fairly impressive.
He's been very impressive. Yeah.
He looked like he's earned his money. I'll put it to you this way. It's similar to what you were saying about Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins they're 0-3, but it's not on Kirk Cousins.
No.
The tight end did not do his job and going, like, at the very least, it's like, man, you fight for it, it falls to the ground, but it's not a turnover. Come on, man.
Minnesota is 3rd in offense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
Hold on. It gets better. Where are we at? Well, they're 21st in defense, but they're 3rd in offense. How are you losing?
Just said it. It's not 21st in defense. You almost halfway in the middle on defense.
Bad.
Yeah.
So,
but you're in the middle,
But it's really one is turnovers. They lead the league in turnovers, and that's the main problem. Is that they had 9 turnovers in the first 2 games, and I think they turned the ball over 2 more times this game.
But even those weren't all Kirk Cousins, is my point.
No, I'm not blaming Kirk for any of that. I'm just explaining how the Vikings are in the situation that they in.
Right.
But back to Staley, because I can't stop this. You have offensive talent. Now you lost Williams to season-ending knee injury. But you drafted old boy from TCU, so you kind of one-day receivers is always down. So my man from TCU can take in the spot, but they can't keep overcoming stupidity. No. And this is why I don't think any of us had them. I don't remember, and I know I didn't have them in the playoffs because of him.
I didn't.
And it's exactly the reason why, because of him. Like, it's not anything else. It's not talent. It's not quarterback play. They even going to survive the injuries. The defense is looking a little bit more suspect than I thought they would, considering you got Derwin James bringing on the back half. Like, they got some dogs. Like, they got some actual
Khalil Mack. Yeah, right.
Yeah, Khalil Mack and Bosa. And
they have too much star power to be that bad on defense.
They do. Right. Absolutely.
They're underachieving.
It makes no sense how bad they are on defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, more specifically than just how bad they are on defense, they've actually got guys who can cover, and they've got guys who can rush the passer, and they're doing neither of them well. Like, for real. We ain't talking about linebackers in space. They literally are doing neither of those things well.
Right.
And it's
their
weird.
Run defense sucks and their coverage sucks.
But with real players.
With Matt Bosa and like dudes who've been all pros.
Like, Derwin James is arguably
one
of the best DBs in the world. Yeah. Like, definitely top 10.
Yeah.
Oh, easy top 10. We talking. He fighting.
No way.
I'm saying. I said DB, meaning safety or corner.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still saying he in top 5. His versatility is outrageous.
It's
yes.
There's nobody he can't.
The man has lined up in the zero technique before.
For those of you who haven't paid attention to Derwin James is the person who rock bottomed Travis Kelce last year in the middle of a football game. Like, caught him in the air and power bombed him, as a safety. We talking real player. And
kept playing.
How about this?
With a flag. So, like, just keep going.
This? Florida State had him and Jalen Ramsey at safety.
Yeah. Yeah, bro.
At the same time.
That's disgusting.
Ooh. But either way,
no wonder they went 2 years and only lost 1 game.
Right. But I'm gonna need the Chargers. I'm gonna need the Chargers to figure it out or figure the coach gone.
There's nothing to figure out. Brandon Staley.
He is who he is. Like, he keeps showing you he is who he is. Which is why I bet against him, because I'm listening to Maya Angelou. If somebody shows me who they are, I believe him. So he didn't show me enough.
He bugs me in a special way. Like he always has. We've had this conversation multiple times. Staley bugs me in a special way not just because of the bad play calling and thinking he's smarter and everything in analytics. He had no business getting the job. And it's too many guys that and when you see it, where it's like, I understand he hot shot, whatever, but does he really deserve the job anyway? And he's proven that he doesn't deserve it, but he's got a stud at quarterback. Like, he literally walked into a situation where it's like, they drafted a stud at quarterback, so they're gonna give him time to develop him. Then he actually show up and he dropping bombs. So it's almost like there's excitement, and it's almost like it distracts you from the fact that he's that bad at managing a game.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, now that I gave him enough smoke, happier subjects.
Okay.
Happier subjects. Paul.
Yes, sir.
Who's that player that balled out for you this past weekend?
I mean, I got to keep going with my man, Tua.
Yeah. Anybody on the Dolphins roster?
You really could just pick one.
Tua.
Out of the Dolphins offense, and they all got money this past weekend.
Tua.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Everybody made their bonuses like in one game.
Oh, boy.
Whatever you needed to get that extra $250,000, however many catches or yards, they got them.
You had Devontae showed his tail.
Man.
Let's see who else we got here. Myles Garrett, of course.
But no, I got
Myles Garrett's a whole problem. That was hilarious. The fact that he got his own delay of game penalty against the Titans just from going side to side on the field, and they kept moving tight ends.
You know how scared you got to be? You afraid to snap it because this man moved? Here's one for you, though. Here's one. Let me throw this out here. Say it with me. OH. CJ Stroud.
Yes.
How about that? I mean, we did a lot of talk about the Cardinals, and justifiably so, because I like the fact that they don't, they got heart, and they've shown heart even though they collapsed in first 2 games. CJ Stroud, how about this boy in 3 games? He just set the record for the rookie most consecutive pass attempts without having an interception.
Yes. Yeah.
And he ain't just going back there dinking and ducking, dropping back, 18, 20 times. They're actually having him throw the ball. He ain't been picked.
Whenever they get the Alabama boy to pick it up on the other side of the ball, they go in places because each week they've gotten exponentially better on offense.
Yes. And that's the key. He's showing real progress.
Like Deion said, don't let me get comfortable. Young fellas get comfortable. Young fella get comfortable down
and the thing is, and I like that for him because I think some of the knocks on him coming out of Ohio State were basically like, he had all the measurables, but it was
Ohio State.
It's the
knock is Ohio State.
So for me, I'm rooting for him not only as a Buckeye fan, but as somebody like I didn't like the fact that I felt like he basically some of the criticism against Stroud was based on other Ohio State quarterbacks.
And that's what I'm saying. We've never had a successful Ohio State quarterback.
People be like,
name one.
Yeah.
Same. I mean, outside of Joe Namath, I mean, until Tua came along and Hurts.
That's the same.
And Mac Jones, you can say the same thing about Bama.
To be honest, you can really say that about every damn program.
Every school that
every big time program. Yes. You can say that about all of them because Michigan had a couple. They just happened to have
they didn't even want to play.
They ain't even, right. They made him split time with a baseball
player. They happened to have Tom Brady. Yeah, but like the only other people that were decent, Elvis Gerbach and Brian Greasy was okay.
Brian Greasy,
like so I mean, you literally can go down any school and find the same stat. Like it does get annoying. And I'm not even an Ohio State fan, and it still gets annoying to hear that as an excuse. Like
it's literally like, and even if you think about it, it's like, so John Elway comes out of Stanford. Was it? I mean, and Andrew Luck, but you can't make the correlation with that.
No,
they got 2 in the whole like time.
You can count Jim Plunkett if you want to. So they technically necessarily have 3 in but the entire history.
And so my point is that we're all saying the same thing. I'm rooting for Stroud, not just because I'm a Buckeye fan and I went to Ohio State, but I'm rooting for him because I don't like the fact. I feel like I'm not saying he's going to a Hall of Fame, but I feel like he was a lot better than some of the critique he got strictly because it was an Ohio State quarterback and there's that stigma.
I don't cry for him. He went number 2 overall.
Well, again, that's why I said, but
don't shed a tear.
And here's my point, though. But if we look,
they didn't write him off.
My only thing, even in the pre-draft analysis, and we all you and I actually talked on the phone about it.
Yeah,
the fact that Carolina took somebody over him, and this dude already not playing. He already hurt.
Yeah,
but he's your height, Paul.
Medical tent is going to be that's his thing. That's going to be his thing.
Dude is small.
But back for a quarterback. One quick question though. Why did Carolina throw the ball 60 times with Andy Dalton?
Well, first of all, Andy Dalton was actually connecting.
I'm not disagreeing, but
Andy didn't look bad.
60 times. I'm just saying, why
this is the trend for the week. It ain't the quarterback. That ain't the reason why you lost.
It's definitely the quarterback.
Don't give me that.
They did what they were supposed to. I'm just
how about this? We've been concentrating on offense, right?
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years. Well, maybe these DCs are like, yeah, enough is enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes. And they finally, there's 2 things that have happened. 1, defensive coordinators have gotten smarter. And 2, the actual defensive players have gotten faster and bigger. Yeah. And that combination
causing delay of game penalties for just moving
for existing. He just
for standing up and then getting back down on his fingers. Like, really?
Shouts out to is that Schwartz up there in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Shout out to Schwartz. Schwartz having an imagination with talent, being able to use talent in unconventional ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because for Myles Garrett, for his entire life until this year, just lined up over the left tackle and said, "Go."
Yeah.
Now he doing basketball moves and crossovers. When they
you say after the game, he taking jump shots.
No, he doing this in the game.
Right.
I don't know if you saw the highlight where he told the man, "I'm about to hit you with the crossover," and then did the crossover move on.
He literally motioned like, "Hey, I'm about to." So be ready for it. Wow.
No,
it's like that dream shake.
He is out here wrecking all kinds of game plans. But for me, I'm gonna go an unexpected place, and it wasn't necessarily great, but it wasn't bad. I'm gonna give a shout out because I was hard on him. Matt Canada, the game he called against the Raiders was functional. Like they used the field, they had some creativity. They put the ball in playmakers' hands and they ran the ball. Like I know
the Raiders help, bro.
I know the Raiders help, but again,
to your point, he wasn't awful.
Okay,
that's all.
He wasn't.
But I prefaced it. I said he wasn't bad. Like that's all that was the only credit I'm giving. But like the offense looked like an actual like
the Steelers don't need much more. If Canada can do a little bit better than that. I mean, the Steelers might be a problem.
Tomlin,
defense,
2 down, 7 to go.
Fitzpatrick and TJ, what man? That
we were talking about that in the preview about the defensive players in the North are just as good as the quarterbacks. Like you got Watt, you got Micah, you got Miles. What happened?
I had an actual tremor. Okay. I had chills come across my body when I saw that play. What was it, Peterson? Because I went back to the argument that y'all don't know. There was Andre and I almost called a flight to Nashville so we could knuckle up over who was it we were talking about? Was it Peterson and who was the Ravens guy?
Roquan.
No, you talking
no.
Marcus Peters.
No, Peters is in Oakland.
Well, I know he's in LA now, but he was with the Ravens.
Right.
And he was with the Ravens.
Right. Because basically y'all was saying man, Peterson is washed. And he was like, hey, Billy, check out the highlight reel. This is what Andre was talking about.
Oh, you talking about the one where the dude caught it and then he jumped?
After he caught it, and then he was like, ah.
Boy.
I'm gonna need you to stop praise dancing. There's a
Right.
football game going on.
He had the streamers and everything.
Right.
Yeah, man. No, that was confirmation. That where Andre was right.
But shout out
it's over for Cuz.
Yeah.
But shout out to the Steelers for at least. I mean, like we've always mentioned, Tomlin gonna win 9 games. It's just gonna be where it goes from there with the rest of the division. But the fact that I was hard on him, and and Canada came up.
Everybody was hard on.
Everybody was, yeah, and
they
probably
was killing him on the net, boy.
But don't do that. Don't do that. Canada listens to the Gray Matters, and so he heard Andre, and he took that personal. He took it personal.
Whatever works, whatever it takes. Ain't that what Captain America said? Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Oh man.
But so now we're moving on to next week. We got. I mean, there's some decent games coming up. The NFL is just going to be unpredictable.
At least we think
until it settles down.
Think.
But
we hope.
We hope.
We're gonna find something to watch. Let's not
on the schedule is the Broncos and the Bears. No, I'm just
you wrong, Lord. Oh my God,
Billy, what game are you looking forward? What game or games are you looking forward to besides the Bears in Denver A&M?
Wow.
Chicago State and Denver A&M, by the way.
Okay, so I got 3 of them. Really, there's about 5 because there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of interesting games.
Mm-hmm.
The first one that comes to mind, I think, is the Thursday night game. I think that's going to be wildly entertaining because the Lions going into Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a read on who's going to win because the Lions have kind of, I don't want to say they've come back to earth, but they've shown to still be the Lions a little bit. And the Packers are showing me a little more. So I kind of look at that and think that should be a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday nights have traditionally not been the best, but I have
not
a feeling.
Recently. Not recently.
But I was going to say.
Last year was terrible.
Last year was like, man, like Al Michaels looked like he just was like, I don't even want this job no more. But so we'll see. I'm looking forward to that. The other 2 to jump off the screen to me. One is I want to see the Dolphins versus the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
More so because I want to see what the Bills are going to do.
I just want to see it come back, like football come back to the median. Like the Dolphins ain't that good.
I don't know. That's why I want to see the game. I think the Dolphins are actually, I'll say me personally, I thought the Dolphins would be good, but I kind of was like, I don't know if they're that good. And I want to see, I mean, they ain't going to put up 70 on the Bills.
Ain't nobody that good.
But let's see if here's what I'm saying. If the Dolphins can put up 35 on the Bills, then, that'll tell me something a little more. So, And I think that's going to be entertaining. The last thing that kind of jumps off to me, like I said, there's a few other ones, but I kind of want to see what happens with the Ravens and the Browns, because I actually feel like anytime you get those AFC North teams, it becomes a litmus test.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see, because Deshaun Watson in particular, it's almost he look not that he looks like Dak, but some of his numbers, it's a hard read because he had the really like good second half against the Bengals. Beyond that, he has not looked particularly impressive, even though I kind of see glimpses of the Houston Texans one. So I kind of want to see what Deshaun Watson is going to do against the Ravens. The Ravens aren't the 49ers, but they're going to put up, they know each other so well, they're going to be able to put up something. So I kind of want to see what he does against the Browns and see if Myles Garrett can scare him a little bit. So
what about you, Paul?
I have to echo Rev here. I too am interested in Miami Buffalo game. I think that'll be the game of the week. in my opinion. I'm surprised they didn't make that the Sunday night game.
Yeah.
They wanted to. They
Right.
thought
it's
Aaron
too
Rodgers,
early to flex.
They thought
Otherwise
Aaron Rodgers was going to be in New York.
Right.
They thought it was going to be New York versus Kansas City.
That's all that is. Yep.
And I think Arizona at San Francisco will be an interesting game.
Really?
Yep. Line is 14. I think Arizona might mess around and cover.
Huh.
Because
and this is why we tell you at the outset.
I'm just saying.
Because I'm putting all my money. That's my lock of the week.
The fact that me and Billy voice both went up 6 octaves.
I think they might cover. I think they might cover. I don't think they're gonna win. I think they might cover.
Okay.
But yeah, Tampa Bay and New Orleans is gonna be a big game for the division.
It's pretty much the only game for the division, if you really want to be honest. I mean, I know Atlanta is out there, lurking, but
yeah,
but you're right.
The way Atlanta has to score,
it's very difficult.
You know what? Just say it. Desmond Ridder does not inspire me at all. But though he has improved,
he's improved. I personally, I believe he's the reason that they didn't beat Alabama. I believe if he had just been like 2% better, Bearcats beat Alabama.
Say if he was Tony Pike
or Caleros. You know what I'm saying? If he had been Caleros would have beat Bama. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Shout out to former great Bearcats quarterbacks.
Y'all have lost people who don't watch college football.
I know, right? But Ridder, I just think that they're too run centric for that to last and be sustainable for a playoff run or even to win a division.
Well, the question too is, I know that I believe in Jameis, but you're saying the Bucks and Saints. Do you think it matters whether or not Derek Carr is able to play?
Yes, I do.
Because if Derek Carr is able to play and he's able to actually perform,
they're gonna have to shoot him up. He's gonna have to play.
I don't think he's gonna play this week though.
I think they were talking about resting him this week.
They were talking about resting him this week.
Then you got Jameis, and them boys gonna feast off of Jameis because he's a former Buck.
I think Jameis gonna have something. Like I said, to your point, I think that's very interesting.
Like if they called the same game plan that they called last week when Jameis came into the game,
Jameis gonna get.
If they let the playbook just ride, it'll get interesting. It'll get fun. Jameis keeps it spicy.
Kamara needs some action though.
Well, he's about to. This is his first game back. Is Kamara's first game back? Is coming up. So
this is and I think that will help even Derek Carr when he comes back. That'll help both him or Jameis back.
Even though Todd Bowles is the black Jeff Fisher, and his defense is much like Jeff Fisher's defenses, play with pride.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I was gonna call him the black Lovie Smith, or the black.
Wow.
The point is that
because
Jeff Fisher, don't do that to Todd Bowles.
Wow, that's cold blooded. That's cold blooded.
I mean, I'm just saying.
And also the Andre Bowl. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting because we let you off the hook. We haven't asked you about your Commanders because they got smacked around.
They got smacked. Like bad. Like it. I mean, they put it this way. They were really happy that Miami did what they did versus Denver A&M because they was on the clock for it too.
The Commanders look exactly like what I thought they were going to look like. They have not surprised me at all this year.
Ron Rivera. You throw Ron Rivera in that box with Todd Bowles and Jeff Fisher. I mean,
there you go.
35
the black Ron
Rivera. Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is always going to go at least 9-7. They will go 7-9, right? Like they're always going to come just short of 500. but they're going to play hard.
They ain't never. They ain't gonna be 2-15. Like they're gonna grind it out, even if they got to win a couple of 17 to 12 games. They're gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Tampa, New Orleans. and of course we, Denver, Chicago. That's the draft. That's the Caleb Williams Bowl. Right there. That's what that is.
I don't know if there's enough money to pay me to watch that game though.
Oh, I'm gonna have it on. I got to. I'm a train wreck fan.
Yes, you are.
I love to see
Matter
a
of
good
fact,
train
he gonna
wreck.
have that on the middle screen, Andre.
There'll be a bunch of points scored because both defenses are terrible.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
No, I do think it
might be like 35-38 or something like that.
I don't think.
That's what's gonna mess us up.
I think it's gonna be like in the 50s.
I say take the under.
How? I don't think they can. Each of these teams can get to 50, even if
how?
they was on air.
You said how?
Well,
you send them out. You send 11 out there by themselves. They couldn't get 50.
Well, so the same way we
show up and get 25 points.
Well, the way it's funny you mentioned 25. The Bears have given up at least 25 points in 12 straight games. So so the bar is 25. Like that's what we
25 to nothing.
so that's what we start. So I can realistically your prediction of 35 to 38. That's well within range, but you only getting 2 more touchdowns than than the baseline was. So. And depending on I don't know if Denver's Denver A&M gonna revolt versus the coach or not, or whether they're gonna play defense or not, because they don't look very interested to be out there.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, I saved the smoke because what you gave me for Brandon Staley was enough to satiate me until next week. I'm saving some smoke because I can already predict there's gonna be plenty of smoke to go around for Sean Payton, so I'm saving mine for next week. I got Denver getting destroyed in this game by Chicago.
Well, Justin Fields gonna run for 200 and throw
probably gonna have to. And here's my point.
You know what? That might be.
And here's my point.
Justin Fields might have a 500, 600 yard day by itself.
Yep.
It is. And here's not a realm of possibility
because I think Sean Payton. Again, I'm gonna save my smoke for next week because I already know what Sean Payton gonna give me.
That's all I'm gonna say. So, real quick, games I'm looking forward to. Obviously, the Baltimore-Cleveland game. That just got an old school feel to it. Like the way they smack around, the opponents right now. That has an old school feel.
Somebody gonna get hurt.
Yeah. And another one I'm looking for. Even though it's a weird placement, I'm looking forward to Hoodie versus New England versus Dallas. I just want to see. What's like, is Dallas's defense going to return back to where they were supposed to be? Is Dallas's offensive line going to block? Because if they don't, then Judon and them are going to have a field day too. So that one's going to be an interesting one. And then also I just lost the game. The Chargers versus the Raiders. I'm just curious to see. Like I think that could be. I mean, if Garoppolo plays. That can be an interesting.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Is Jimmy gonna play? Yeah.
That can be. Well, they said that it's not looking good because apparently he got it run pretty good.
But Stidham threw for 400 the last couple of games. He was out last year, so again
makes a lot of money.
We've been talking about the Chargers are underachieving on defense. So on paper, it looks like Garoppolo's out. They should run away with it. I'm just saying. It might not happen the way you think is going to happen because Stidham did the one thing that he knew how to do. Let me find Adams and get him the ball, and let's see what happens. Like hope floats. And so I'll be curious to see what that one looks like. So that those are the games that I'm looking forward to. But last part, which is the part that we're totally not responsible for those of you that gamble a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, give me a couple of them picks for me, Billy. Where should we put our Monopoly money down on?
Monopoly money. If you want to lose that, we can do that too.
Boardwalk.
Right. I got 2 of them 3 of them that I think are absolute positive locks. Okay. 49ers are going to, I don't care what the spread is, take it. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you all the easy ones, right? I'm going to give you 2 easy ones, and one of them that you can be like, nah, this is one you bet. The second one, don't care what the spread is on Sunday Night Football, because Taylor Swift said so. Like they're gonna light the Jets up, and it's gonna be a whole mutiny. It's gonna be so bad that people are really gonna start talking about Salah's job security. And then the last one I got, because again, those two I don't care what the spread is. And then the last one I got, man, shout out to Buzz Lightyear and Woody and them. Mm-hmm. And so for people who ain't going to church on Sunday morning, they got the Toy Story Bowl.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
Apparently, it's gonna be some weird kind of animation, like AI stuff going on, where they're gonna however, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually not gonna be in church. I'm gonna be traveling, unfortunately, for a funeral. But so I'll probably get a chance to see that one. Actually, as it's happening on ESPN, yeah. And I actually like the Falcons to put a little more attention on the Jags. I think the Falcons are going to actually pull that one out. So I would take them on the money line straight up.
Okay.
Okay.
But real quick, because they did it with hockey last year, where Big City Greens was doing the hockey portion, and it mimicked exactly what was going on.
Exactly. So and I'm kind of looking to see who's gonna be what. Like, which one of y'all gonna be?
Yeah.
Which one of y'all gonna be? Trevor Lawrence.
So for a game in London that's gonna be on at 7:30 my time, the cartoon version will be just fine. Thank you.
You and the kids can watch together.
We can watch. So what you got, Paul?
As far as the NFL, I got Miami over Buffalo. Buffalo's favorite in that game.
Mm-hmm.
How much was it? 2.5.
2.5. Yep.
2.5. Yep.
That's just you playing at home. So it's basically a pick'em game.
Yep. I got Miami over Buffalo. I think what's lost, with the 70 and Tyreek and Tua doing everything, we forget that the Dolphins actually have pretty good defense as well.
And they're waiting for Ramsey to come back too.
And they're waiting for Ramsey to come back. And young Josh likes to throw the ball to the wrong shirt from time to time.
Or run too much and then
or put it on the ground. So I look for Miami to I think that'll be one that you could cash in on. After that, I would take probably Seattle over the Giants. The Giants are favored in that game.
You're kidding?
Wow,
yeah. It's the Monday night game. Giants are favored.
But no, they're favored. I ain't talking about. I know.
Yeah, they're favored by 1.5. Yeah.
I would take Seattle. Yeah, I would take Seattle in that game. Yep.
Let me go back and look at my notes. That's two games. I'm like, wait a minute.
On the college side, you got UC at BYU. BYU's favored by 2.5. Take BYU.
Yeah.
Take BYU. Let's see here. You got Texas A&M at Arkansas. Texas A&M is giving up 6.5. I would take Texas A&M. Arkansas is too volatile. They got some good athletes, but they're too unstable as a team to Texas A&M's better than them. Just flat out.
Should be. They got all the money.
That's what I'm saying.
When I say they got their own money
of the big game, this might be the week. This might be Colorado might cover.
I was getting ready to say that
after watching Arizona State up and watched Arizona State. Yeah, sat down and tussled with Arizona State last week. I don't know. Colorado State might cover.
What's the spread, Andre? Do you know what the spread is in that Cardinals versus North Carolina State?
It was.
I got it right. It's 3.
Yeah, I was about to say it was 3 when I
Cardinals.
Yep.
That sounds tempting.
That is very tempting because people ain't paying attention. We actually putting up points. I
was going to say that sounds real tempting because I like Louisville on that one a lot.
Oregon State is favored versus Utah.
Yeah.
Utah I don't even like to bet them, man.
Well, not this year. They ain't got the quarterback.
I was about to say they always let me down. Yeah,
but they gonna beat Oregon State.
If I can get a money line on, I might.
Dr. Pepper ain't gonna light him up.
No, Dr. Pepper is not gonna do nothing with Utah.
What you got other than Louisville, Andre? Because I know you're gonna do that.
Yeah, no, I got a couple that are interesting. One, unfortunately, I'm gonna take the Titans over the Bengals. Is one. Bengals are favored by 2.5. But it's in Nashville. And I totally get it that the Titans suck last game. I'm not writing that off, but
they
match up with Cincinnati.
They match up with Cincinnati really well.
Tannehill, some of his worst games have come against the Bengals.
They have, and so is, but
they did sack Burrow 9 times the last.
I was gonna say that there's an issue there. And the issue is first name is Jeffrey and his last name is Simmons. So that's one. Then I promise you, I thought this was a typo. I'm not playing. Take the over for the Bears and the Broncos. The over under is 46.
Yeah, definitely over.
Oh,
like again, the Bears have given up 25 points in 12 straight games.
Right.
So we already started off 25-0. You only got to get 19 points left out of the game. That's gonna happen.
Right.
So that would be the second one to take, and then the last one that I had for that just had it up. The where'd it go? Oh, here we go. The Cowboys are getting 7 against the Patriots. 7 is a lot of points
against a Belichick team.
There
the Cowboys too.
So I'm thinking to take New England with the 7. I'm not saying New England will win, but I definitely think they can cover the 7.
But it's in Jerry World though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, but
okay.
I mean, Mac Jones is at least going, as long as he hit a couple tight ends, they at least gonna score some points. So I'm just 7 is a lot for a hoodie team. That's all I'm saying.
I ain't gonna lie. It sounds like we might have some winners this week.
In the battle of the coaches, is Hoodie versus McCarthy. Yeah, y'all can lay that where y'all want to.
Yeah. That's all you need to know, right?
Yeah, this is true.
Well, I got one. Georgia is only favored 14.5 over Auburn.
I'll leave that alone.
Auburn lost to Cal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so there's some tasty ones out there. Okay,
there's some
Oregon is giving up 27 to Stanford. They will cover.
This is true.
Stanford lost. I want to say Sac State. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. Yeah. You might win some money this week.
And Washington is giving up 18 to Arizona.
That is, this man, it's Paul. No, this is how you be getting people. This is how people lose their money.
Right, because he done named out too many games. You're supposed to give him just a couple. Now you got people betting every Pac-12 game.
Andre, tell them how that 7th leg always gets you. Always, just try it. Hey, and you just gonna be sitting there.
I say I don't gamble. I'm just saying if I was
mad because a bad beat got you by half a point.
If I was.
They pitching it around and that they return. Y'all seen Scott Van Pelt's bad beats where somebody return the pitchy woo woo for a touchdown and you end up losing.
Yeah.
Had no business betting in Appalachian State anyway.
Boy.
Hut. All right, that's a wrap. We want to thank you once again for joining us for our weekly football wrap-up and preview show. Looking forward to week 4. As always, we like to make sure that we note that none of our comments regarding gambling are to be considered advice for you to follow. If you have a gambling problem, please seek help. However, we are just not that place to get it.
No.
With that, please enjoy week 4. Leave us comments. If you got any questions, if you'd like to offer some takes or some input, we are here for it, definitely. And we want to thank you once again for following us on all of our platforms.
Yes,
we look forward to seeing you again next week as we come back to give you yet another rundown and get prepared for week 5. Be blessed.
Put the ball, Brandon Staley. Jesus Christ.
Hit that like and subscribe button.
Not Brandon.
Right.